thank you for being here today with me. We're at the Center for Device Innovation at Texas Medical Center.
Yeah, happy to be here.
Thanks. I want to learn a little bit about you. So if you don't mind, actually just introduce yourself and then your title with Odin Technologies first, so we get a little framework.
Sure. So my name is Steven Hansen. I'm 24 years old, and I'm at Odin Technologies. I'm the Chief Executive Officer. So I'm a sole co-founder. I've had some people that started with me on the project, but I'm the only one who's decided to take it further and bring it to this stage. I was a sports medicine healthcare provider at Purdue University for 4 years. And when I was there, I was exposed to an athlete that had something called compartment syndrome. And we went through and we diagnosed this patient, and it was incredibly difficult. It was like this patient came in, she was like, my leg hurts, something's going wrong. So we stuck a needle in her 16 times, we punctured a vein, and we still couldn't figure out what was going on. Right? And so then I basically came to the conclusion that there was a better way we could do this, right? We can diagnose compartment syndrome better than sticking a bunch of needles in this patient. So I invented a device for myself just to see if I could do it. And it worked, right, to start. And I was like, oh my gosh, this thing's actually working. From there, I said, this could actually be important, right? We could start something and actually improve healthcare this way. So from there, I decided that I need to learn how to start a company. I had no idea how to start a company or any of that kind of thing. So I got enrolled in the Master of Science in Law program at Northwestern University, where I learned entrepreneurship law. I learned, all this design thinking and testing, and how to, like all the legal and the regulatory around medical devices specifically. So I could actually build this company. From there, I applied to TMCX, still at a very early stage, and we got accepted, and that's how I'm here.
Well, that's a nice short story with a lot of impact. I think you indicated at the beginning that you had some experience in what I would consider sports health before you had an unmet need that you found a solution for. So we're going to tap on that a little bit. Did you develop an interest in technology and medical devices specifically at an early age, or was it this experience that propelled you into the industry?
It was really this experience. I mean, I've always kind of been someone that's been a tinkerer. I've liked to play with tools and stuff. I'm the only non-engineer in my family. Everyone else is an engineer. So I've always been exposed to, circuit boards, breadboards, Arduinos, all these kinds of things. And when I saw the opportunity that I could build something, without my brothers or my parents, I was like, you know what, I'm just going to try it, right? Let's see what happens.
I mean, you can innovate and create multiple devices for multiple industries. Was there something specifically about healthcare that made you feel connected to this space?
I mean, I've always loved healthcare in general. I've always thought the human body was fascinating. I mean, there's just so much going on, and I feel like there's always going to be something we can learn about it, right? And so just being in the medical device space for me was exciting. I'd be able to work with people all the time. I mean, I'm always out talking to people in hospitals, to patients, to other stakeholders, and that's just something I love. So from an executive standpoint, going out and being able to just interview people and saying, hey, what's your life like, right? What are you doing? What problems are you having, and how can I help fix them, right? To me, that's really important and something that I love. So.
I love it too.
And it's fun, isn't it?
It is, and it's an addiction,
right.
I feel like. And I would say that's a commonality with most of the innovators that I get a chance to interview. And there's this passion we have about building and creating something.
Right,
and
right.
It's nothing compares to that. You mentioned that you were the only non-engineer in a family of engineers. Do you feel like that still influenced you? Because you sound and speak like an engineer.
No, it definitely influenced me. I mean, just growing up and growing around it, that was what I was exposed to my entire life. I've always thought coding was really important. I think everyone should know at least a little bit of code, right? Just especially the age we're going into with computers being just so prevalent in just every industry. And that's actually one of the fundamentals of our technology. So here at Odin Technologies, what we're doing is this non-invasive diagnostic device for compartment syndrome is heavily based off of computers. We're taking some technologies that have already been created, but we're putting smarter algorithms behind it, right? So we're taking a current technology that's cheap, but it's very useful, and it's been validated since World War II, right? Pulse oximetry. But we're taking it, and by putting a smarter engine behind it, we can actually create better diagnostics and more objective information for physicians.
So it's more going into digital health?
Not quite digital health. So what we're doing is it's a physical device that you'll place on someone's skin, and then based off of a smarter algorithm running and being the foundation for this device, it actually provides better objective information. So we can actually show physicians what's going on with a current metric that's already being measured, right?
So that's a base point?
Right, and so what we have is a pulse oximeter will measure the partial pressure of oxygen in someone's blood, right? Doing something very similar to what they're doing, we can actually produce other metrics that are really useful for a physician in diagnosing compartment syndrome. So for us, that's really important because the technology is there. There's a lot of information on it. The FDA is very familiar with it and comfortable with it, which is big for us. And then being able to produce something that's really useful out of it, it makes it just a great technology to play with.
I can't wait to dig into that a little bit more.
Sure.
Let's take a step back and talk about Odin Technologies in general. So this is your transitional stage.
Right, yeah, so we're actually right out of graduate school, and so we're still very early on, but just here at TMCX, we've made an incredible amount of progress. I mean, in prototyping and strategic partnerships and information around stakeholders and in the hospital, all that kind of stuff. I mean, it's just so rich here at the Texas Medical Center, and being able to tap into all that is incredible. I mean, we've gone through and we've, in 1 month, made probably the same progress we would have made in a year without TMCX.
That's incredible. Talking about specifically the Center for Device Innovation at TMC, I've gotten a chance to see the lab and the amazing resources from the different parts of the campus. What would you consider your favorite tool or machine on campus?
I think in the CDI, they have a great 3D printer that can print like 1/500th of a micron, I think. And that technology, I think, is incredible. I think 3D printing is going to be the future for just creating things. Here at TMCX, we'll use a 3D printer at one point in the life cycle of the company, right? Currently, I mean, for prototyping, it's so incredible because you can say, I need this part. You don't have to go find a vendor, find some source and buy it and have it sent to you. You can just go on the computer, draw up what you want, and then print it out, and it's there in 30 seconds, right? So, I mean, that's just something that's been incredible. And as an asset to early stage companies trying to get a looks like, a feels like prototype, something that you can take and put in the hands of an investor that says, what does this feel like, right? Hold it, how does it feel, right? You know, if it's like a handheld that requires, you know, finite control, then you can say, okay, what is this like? And they can say, well, it's too big for my hand, right? Or my thumb feels awkward, it's not in a good spot, right? And you can say, okay, you can take that, iterate on it, and bring back another one in the same day, right? And say, how does this feel?
So it's real-time improvements and, as you said, continuing iterations of the product right there on site.
Exactly. So just from a product development standpoint, there's a lot of really useful information there.
And it shortens the life cycle of product development dramatically.
Oh, definitely. Yeah, definitely. Even though that's for mostly the physical form of our product, it's going to be incredible just for that usability portion and human factors. So seeing what people can do with it and how they're going to use it is very important.
I know that Odin Technologies is in stealth mode and relatively new, but what would you consider, with the exception of being welcome to TMCX, of course, your most recent milestone?
We've just started our negotiations for our first preclinical study. And so now we're at a spot where we're about to start testing it on animals and really get some true validation behind the prototype and the science. And that is just incredible. And I'm really excited to see what the results yield.
That's a huge milestone. Mm-hmm. Congratulations.
Thank you so much.
What would you consider, and I want you to really think about this, because you have an entire future ahead of you. What would you consider, with Odin Technologies in particular, as a milestone that would make you feel like you finally made it?
I think for me, it's going to be able to have office space and have my employees in the same spot, right? Have our own wet lab, dry lab, and being able to do our own research and development within our company instead of having to outsource 90% of what we do, right? Being able to move from our first product and being able to build that second product, right? And being able to show not only to investors, but to ourselves that, look, we're producing something that the community needs, right? They're coming back and they're saying, we want more, right? Build us more. And so we're actually being able to create more for them and bring out more products that the community needs.
So you're seeing Odin Technologies as having a suite of products moving forward and really serving, would you say, the same unmet clinical need, or would you be expanding outside of that?
What we would do from the start is we would take our product and we would actually expand it to other facets of medicine. So using the smart engine to really have our product diagnose compartment syndrome in particular, we can take the same technology and with different algorithms, and by teaching it more, we can put it in different places, right? We can have it in post-operative care, we could have it in consumer, we could put it in weight training, we could put it in all these other places because it monitors blood flow and perfusion to tissues, right? And so there's a bunch of places we can stick it, and so our future products will either be the same product placed in different spots or the same product slightly modified to be able to go in different parts of the body and monitor different things for people.
Not only is that incredible, it goes right in line with what I was assuming you were going with this. So it's not, the technology and the device that you're creating right now is obviously serving the medical device industry, but it's going to go outside of the industry, so cross-industry. And you're in consumer health, you're saying weight loss. Do you see it going into long-term space travel? Can you see it going into any other industry that's not medical devices that maybe we couldn't even see right now?
It's very possible that it could. I know that just based on the technology, it can go all over the place. I mean, one of the reasons I got into this was because of athletics, and so that's where I saw it initially, right? But then because of just the market and what's best for getting the technology kicked off, medical device and post-operative care is going to be one of the best places. But we can also see it in places like, in weight training, weightlifting, in the military even. We've gotten a lot of feedback that in wound care and immediate wound care out in the field is going to be a huge area for us. And so talking with the Department of Defense is also really big for us.
Honestly, I can't even conceive of the impact that your device is going to have. And before I let you go, will you give us any last thoughts or closing remarks or share anything that you'd like the audience to know?
Sure. I think that innovation, especially for people that are in a younger area and don't necessarily have the right capital to do everything, I think that everyone can do it. I know I still haven't quite found my way, and we're still working on it here at Odin Technologies, but I mean, really getting out and taking the passion for innovation is important. And you can do it. You just need to find the right people to help you out. So, I mean, here at Odin Technologies, that's what we've pushed for. We went and we found people that are incredible in their field, and that were able to help us from a mentoring standpoint and get us into the position that we need. So if people have that mind for innovation, I think that they should go and strive out to do it themselves. And if they have any interesting or questions about Odin Technologies and what we're doing, they're more than welcome to like us on Facebook and Twitter, and we can talk about that.
You are a millennial.
I am.
So am I. Well, I wish you the very best, Steven. Thank you so much for being here. I'm going to keep a close eye on you, and best wishes.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.